You've done the work, years of it, therapy, the books, the journaling, the meditation. You can name your attachment style. You can explain your own trauma better than your therapist can. And yet, the same thing keeps happening. The same fight in every relationship. The same quiet self-sabotage right at the edge of something good. The same voice that whispers, "Here we go again." Here's the part nobody warns you about. The more self-aware you become, the worse this can get. Because all that insight has been aimed at the part of you that you can already see, and that was never the part running your life. The man who figured out why was Carl Jung, and he saw it most clearly in 1945, standing in the ruins of the worst thing human beings have ever done. Let's be clear about one thing, because it matters. Therapy isn't broken. The journaling, the boundaries, the meditation, none of it is useless. Those are good tools. But a good tool aimed at the wrong place doesn't fix anything. It just gets exhausting. For your whole life, all that work has been pointed at the parts of yourself you're willing to look at, your conscious mind, the you describe to a friend. And underneath that, in the dark, is everything you decided long ago you were not allowed to be. The anger you got punished for, the need you were shamed for, the selfishness, the envy, the want. Jung gave it a name. He called it the shadow, and his most unsettling claim was this: the shadow doesn't disappear when you refuse to look at it. It just takes the wheel and starts driving your life while you swear you're the one steering. So where does it go? You've actually met it. You just never realized it was you. Go back to being a kid. Somewhere early, you learned which parts of you got love and which parts got punished. Maybe anger got you rejected. Maybe needing too much got you left. Maybe being too much got you laughed at. So you did the only smart thing a child can do. You took those parts of yourself and you buried them, out of sight, out of mind. You built a version of you that was acceptable, and you shoved the rest into the dark. That buried pile is the shadow, and here's what almost everyone gets wrong about it. It isn't evil. It's not your demons. It's just the disowned parts of a whole person, and a lot of it is good. Your boldness, your desire, your ability to say no and mean it. You didn't kill those parts. You can't. You only hid them. And anything you hide from yourself does not sit quietly in the dark. It runs in the background, unsupervised, making decisions you will later swear you never made. If this is the first time someone's put words to the thing you've felt your whole life, that's exactly what this channel exists for. Subscribe, because the next part is where you finally catch it in the act. You've been seeing it the whole time, projection. So if the shadow is invisible to you, how do you ever find it? Not by looking inward. That's the trap. The ego guards that door. It built the shadow to protect your self-image, and it will not casually hand it over. You find it by watching what you can't stand in other people. The coworker whose arrogance makes your skin crawl. The friend whose neediness drains you. The stranger whose selfishness makes you furious, way out of proportion to what they actually did. Jung's claim was simple and uncomfortable. The traits that trigger you most violently in others are usually the ones you've exiled in yourself. You're not reacting to them. You're reacting to a piece of you, wearing someone else's face. That hot flash of contempt, how dare they, isn't judgment. It's recognition you won't let yourself feel. And this is why the most self-aware people are often the most stuck. The smarter you are, the better you are at explaining your reactions away. No, they really are arrogant, and the more perfectly your own shadow stays hidden, which leaves one question. If insight can't reach it, and you can't fight it, then what are you actually supposed to do? Why fighting it makes it stronger? Here's where almost everyone goes wrong, including a lot of therapy. You finally find the pattern, and you declare war on it. You're going to fix it, beat it, never do it again. But the shadow gets stronger every single time you fight it. There's a reason, and psychologists proved it in a lab. Tell yourself, do not think about a white bear, and suddenly the white bear is the only thing you can think about. Push a thought down, and it pushes back harder. They call it the ironic process. Suppression doesn't delete, it amplifies. The same thing happens with a disowned part of yourself. Every time you fight it, shame it. Try to be better than it. You're telling your own mind that this part is dangerous, unacceptable, an enemy. So it digs in. It gets louder. It waits for the moment your guard finally drops. 3 drinks in, exhausted, mid-argument, and then it takes the wheel completely. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at, and you definitely cannot beat it back into the dark, because the dark is the one place it draws its power, which is exactly what Jung watched happen, not to one person, to an entire civilization. 1945. After the catastrophe. In 1945, the war ended, and Jung stood in the wreckage of Europe trying to understand how an entire, modern, educated nation had done something so monstrous, and he wrote something most people have never read. He said the horror hadn't come from a handful of evil men. It came from millions of ordinary people who refused to see their own shadow, and so they did the only other thing you can do with it. They projected it. They found a group to carry all their disowned darkness, pointed and said, "The evil is over there. We are the good ones." Jung's line was brutal. He wrote that every German should have recognized his own shadow, his own worst danger, and the conclusion he drew from the ashes is the same one running your small private self-sabotage right now. You cannot project your shadow onto others. The instant you insist the problem is them, your ex, your boss, your parents, the world, the shadow wins, because you've just handed it the one thing it needs to survive: permission to stay hidden. A nation that won't see its shadow goes to war. A person who won't see theirs quietly sabotages every good thing they touch and calls it bad luck. Same mechanism, same darkness. Only the scale is different, and it points straight at the way out. Because if the shadow only has power in the dark, then the work was never to defeat it. It was to turn the light on, not fix it, not fight it, not journal it into submission, just see it, clearly, without flinching and without the war. Jung called this making the unconscious conscious, and he was blunt about the cost of refusing. What you will not make conscious runs your life from the outside, and you call it fate. But the reverse is the quiet miracle. The moment you can actually see your own pattern coming, there it is, the same move I always make, right on schedule, something loosens. It can't run you the same way anymore, because the part of you that was operating in the dark is suddenly standing in the light, with you watching it. You don't become a different person. You become a whole one. The exiled parts finally allowed back into the room. That's why years of fighting changed nothing, and one honest moment of seeing can change everything. The shadow was never your enemy. It was just the part of you that's been waiting, in the dark, to be seen. So here's the honest question, and you already know your answer. What's the pattern? The one that shows up in every relationship, every job, every version of your life. The move you swore you'd never make again and made again last month. Name it in the comments, out loud, in the light. That isn't the end of the work, but it might be the first time it's ever been pointed at the right place.